Hello everybody, Dan the Houseman here, coming to you with a toilet fill valve made by Fluidmaster. Now this thing scares the hell out of a lot of people, but I'm going to tell you something. It's nothing to be afraid of. I'm going to break it down for you piece by piece, just how easy this thing comes apart and goes back together. So, how about we get started? First, you're looking at a brass shank right here. This is what's going to go through the toilet tank. There'll be a washer on here. With this particular model, it'll be red. I didn't bother to put it on because it's not important right now. We're not putting this in the toilet. We're disassembling this valve and putting it back together again. Oh yeah. So, follow along. We have a cap here. This cap, you can see it has a couple holes. It lines up with those two pieces right there. That's sort of like a guide. Look in the front very carefully. You see this gray piece? The cap has a couple of black pieces that go over that like this. Okay, so we reach in here and we snatch that cap off of there. Oh yeah. Now look, isn't that gnarly looking? But the beauty of this is, and most people don't tell you, I know the manufacturer doesn't for most time, you can take this and pull it apart. Look at that. You can take it and pull it apart. It's really that simple. There are shapes within there that match up with these shapes. Now while I have this out here, I'm going to pop this off of this arm. Okay? For ease of use, you might say. Now, look right here. You see that black washer? That is what is the operating portion of this fill valve. If you look really carefully, and I get my fingers out of the way, you'll see that little needle. When that little needle comes down, your fill valve has shut. When that little needle goes up, well, your fill valve is allowing water to go into the toilet. Look at that very carefully. See that? That needle is inside of a little nozzle. All right? So, as you look at this, it's very important for you to remember the orientation in which this is in, because that's the way the new one is going to go in. All you have to do is you take your thumb. See if I can do it so you can see it. I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to pop that rubber piece out of there. Okay? You see that? I popped this piece out of here. Now look, right there. You see that nozzle? That's where the needle goes. Don't put it back together without putting the needle back in that hole. And when I say needle, I'm referring to that little guy. Okay? And it can kind of wobble around. It moves around in there. So it doesn't always stay perfectly centered. So when you go to put the new one in, make sure that you get the nozzle on the needle. Can you see that? The needle's up inside there. Okay, once you do, you can pop it back together. Once this is back together, it's really not all that hard. You take this guy here, you look at where this nozzle is right here. You want to have that a little bit off the side, okay? And so that's your orientation of where this goes in. You see how that just popped in there like that? And then you give it a little twist. When you give it a little twist, it's locked back in place. So this is unlock, this is lock. It's that much, just a little bit. Okay? Now, you gotta put the cap back on. And the way that you do that is, you line up those running boards, I call them right there, and this open slot with where the arm is. So you take that, you put it on like so, you give it a pop, bingo, you're back in business. Now this guy here, all you gotta do is get this onto here, okay? Can you see that? That little spot right there? You get that on there, give it a little push. Bingo, it's back in there. It's really that easy. You have just rebuilt a Fluidmaster toilet fill valve. Wasn't that easy? I knew you'd love it. Now, here's part 2. I'm going to make it really easy for you because I'm going to teach you something no plumber would ever tell you. Okay? there's a secret to these valves, and it's right here. This nut. We call this little plastic ring a nut. This allows the fill valve to either be short or long, okay? Because you can adjust it up and down, or you can take it apart even. Now that's the beauty of it. Imagine this is in the toilet. You got an O-ring right there, okay? As long as that O-ring's in good shape, you're in good shape. The rest of this is just a hollow tube. And if you got to replace an O-ring, oh my God, you know, it's going to cost you like 10 cents, all right? By doing that, you're going to save having to take this whole piece apart out of the toilet. What does that mean? That means you don't have to lay on your side, crawl up under there with a flashlight and a pair of channel locks and try and unscrew this nut and get this doggone thing out of there that you don't need to take out because all it is a pipe. Okay? I like easy, don't you? So, you take this whole piece out, you can work on this on the kitchen table, easy breezy. Then when you go back, you make sure that this part here, that white part with those O-rings, that goes inside of here. Not that hard, right? You go, hey, look at that. I can do it. Hey! Now, watch these little tabs. If they're on a ring, they get a little fatter, okay? And it's going to be harder to push this guy down. So when you get this back in the toilet, okay, and you have this ring up, and you set this to the height that you want it to be, you might have to move it just a little bit, you know, up or down, so that you can pull this ring down. It's very, very important that you pull that ring down, because if you don't pull that ring down, Mama ain't going to be happy when you turn on the water jack, because this is going to do Mount St. Helens all over your bathroom. So don't forget to put the ring down, please. I don't want her blaming me. So here we go again. Push it down, give her a little twist, pull that down, and you can't pull it apart, okay? It won't come apart once you have the ring fully engaged. My suggestion, make damn sure you double check that ring, make sure that thing's all the way down. Not a little bit down, not just halfway down. No, brother, all the way down. Then you're back in business with essentially a brand new fill valve. You know what that cost you? $5. That's even if you bought the O-ring, okay, which I don't think you're going to need to. They don't really go bad, all right? That's how you do it, folks. And this is what the package looks like that the toilet fill valve seal comes in. It cost me $4.85. Instead of buying this whole fill valve, which would have cost me about $20. And it wouldn't have been as easy to rebuild if I had to take the whole doggone thing out of the toilet tank and put the thing all the way back in. Guess what? I don't even have to get all of the water out of the toilet tank if I leave this piece in there, right? The water could be this high. It doesn't even matter. It's not going to go out. I'm trying to teach you some good tricks here. I hope you're paying close attention. Watch it again. And if you have any questions or comments, you know, I love to hear them, and I respond to every single one of them. Dan the Houseman, have a great day.